Hello, everybody, and welcome to tonight's coverage of the third season of the NASCAR Class C Maconi Fixed Series. This evening, we're excited to bring you top split action for the last of the strength of field races for the virtual Talladega Super Speedway here in Lincoln, Alabama. Additionally, tonight, we're bringing a new up-and-coming announcer to the iRacing space here at Maconi Entertainment. Maconi Entertainment is here to bring you action from all types of racing. Top split of the Maconi C Fixed Series, the Road to Pro Series, and Fast Fridays. No matter what you're racing, we can bring the action to life. My name's Justin Prince. Alonso to boot for tonight's action is Shane Mundy. Rampol is working the controls as our producer, using cameras provided by the great Dougie Beer. Tonight, Shane, first things first, welcome to the world of broadcasting and welcome to Maconi Entertainment. All of us are excited to have you with us for tonight's action, especially when it comes to Dega. It's been unpredictable the entire week. Lots of ways to win, lots of ways to lose. Just about every driver you've seen run a truck this week usually can have a chance by lap 25. What do you expect for tonight's last race and last top split for Dega Week?
Well, first of all, thank you, Justin, and thank you guys for having me. It's a really cool opportunity. But as far as we go for Talladega, this place, like you said, is just absolutely unpredictable. You could be 10th coming to the white flag, and you could end up winning the race on your roof even when you come back around here. That's just how this place is. It is going to be chaotic, as Dega always is. These guys are heading to the grid now. Got the biggest names in the Class C Maconi Truck Series here tonight to duke it out, and I'm excited to see who can bring it home at the end of this thing.
Let's find out how they'll start for the last of the top splits here tonight as they make their way to the racetrack here at Dega in the next moment or so. Again, glad to have you with us for tonight's action here on Maconi Entertainment. Your qualifying order now on screen. It's David Durand who will start on the pole tonight alongside the game designer and graphic designer Elliot Henderson. Chubb Shockley, we've seen a couple times in the past few weeks. He starts third alongside the short track racer Connor Rockwood. Then it's Benjamin White, the top split driver for tonight, the number 1 in split in fact, alongside Chase Williamson. Daniel Musteller, he's been a name to watch for over the years here. In fact, back in the fall, he was your winner in all the Super Speedway S.O.F races. He starts alongside one of your top drivers this season in J-Bo. Aaron Clemens, known for short track racing and a dramatic win earlier this year on the iRacing platforms in 9th. Terrell Baker, the top 10.
Definitely got some big names there in J-Bo, and he's second in points coming into tonight's race as well, and right on the tail of the points leader in Jacob Schneider.
Let's take a look at the rest of the grid. As you mentioned, Snyder, the 12th position alongside one of the Daniels in the field. Justin Hagan starts off 13th. Joey Masevich alongside. Cameron White and Julian Valeda starts off 16th. Bremen Hart, Jeff Maconi, the top 18. Then it's Boyd and Edwards, who worked with Maconi tonight, likely alongside Chase Stewart. The rest of your starters, Zach Later, Jake Sylvia, Dominic Begin, the Canadian, known for his road course racing more than anything. And your last starter in the field is Clint Echo-Knowledge in the 24 truck. That's a look top to bottom at your running order here tonight from Talladega Super Speedway as we get set to go racing. Remember, your points leader entering tonight, Jacob Snyder, has 1,188 points over J-Bo. That difference, nearly 40-50 points. Now, with the drops to think about here, those two drivers could score some solid points here if they get themselves a dub, you'd have to think, especially knowing that it's been tricky to win this week, but also get points consistently before the drops start coming in, like J-Bo, who is leading before the drops. Snyder had been at the edge of the top 10 until recent weeks.
Definitely going to be in for a show. The Truck Series at Dega is always a show, but like you said, all week, every series at Talladega has been absolutely crazy. I mean, as you would expect from Talladega, but these guys have made some interesting things work. Lots of side drafting that has come into play, I've noticed this week more so than when we were here in October. So it'll be interesting to see who uses what to get to victory lane here.
So what are your keys to win for a race like this tonight, and why?
Oh, gosh. Well, above all, I personally, when I'm racing at Talladega, A lot of people don't like to be the leader, but I tend to like being up front just because I feel like I can manage the race from there. So these guys that are up front here, this is where I would want to be. In the back, especially off an early start, you just never know who's going to make a wrong move a little too early, and it could end your night altogether right off the rip. So to get to victory lane, sometimes it's a game of survival, and at a place like Talladega, it's at least about 85, maybe more % luck to get the win here.
Just about ready to go racing for tonight's action. The last top split race for C Fixed this week from Dega. It's been through with chills, spills, many of thrills, and many of flips. It's time to see who wins the final top split of the week. The green flag is out. We're underway from Dega.
Looks like an even start here so far. Both lanes got a really good jump, and we got a few guys dipping out of line there. 3 wide already.
3 wide with a lot of drivers electing to drop back, Shane. And this is a common sight in many of these races, especially to the inside like there. Wait to see what happens, then go to the front. There's the different mindsets, obviously, of do you want to be the leader early, obviously for lap 1, or do you want to be at the very back?
That 2 truck, that was Chase Williamson, had a really close call going down the backstretch into turn 3. He was trying to get down to the bottom lane, I believe, and that closed up really fast, and he was not able to get down. And these guys are already pushing really hard here in the trial, coming just to complete the first lap.
Shockley and Durant lead the lines. Parker White up there as the pusher for the inside. Outside, the pusher is Rockwood. End of the first lap. Many drivers, such as J. Bo, Henderson, and more, who qualified in the top half of the field, decided not to keep the track position interesting enough here. So, with that in mind here, how do you play this, knowing there's a lot of intensity ramping up already, but you already have a lot of the big names and high S.O.F. drivers saying, let's run in the teens to start the day?
Well, with them out of the picture right now, it's more so just don't put yourself in a position to get behind them. Those guys are such a threat. You know, they're high ranked in points for a reason. So if you can get ahead of them, you're gonna want to be ahead of them. I think, goodness, we got a lot of lane changing here. The 11, Connor Rockwood, almost. Maybe got into the back. I think that is the 18, David Durand, almost.
So a few drivers as a result of that saying, you know what, maybe I should drop back, including Williamson. 3 wide can be nerve-wracking, especially with blocks like Baker. Terrell Baker cutting off the outside. That's tight.
That was very tight. I'm surprised. I think the 22 truck really cut him a break there. But they're making headway now. They're about to be 3-by-3 for this lead.
And it's pretty clear. Yeah, Baker doesn't want to back off on side draft, it seems, earlier. And that is a chatter point by some. Just getting the side draft just right, or be like what you see here. Parker White trying to become the Pied Piper and block the lanes.
It worked for him there, but at a place like this, he shouldn't use up all his luck too early here. Sometimes you'll pay the price later on for blocks like that. And people will cut you a break right now, but the more laps go by, we got one truck out of shape back there. I'm not sure that's a 2 truck.
That's Williamson yet again getting very loose, and everybody's getting loose. What's going on there?
Still out of shape.
I can't tell if he was trying to go back and forth or if somebody hit him to go back and forth.
Very good save, I want to say, if it was how it looked there. But they keep it straight for now, but they are still 3 wide, about 4 or 5 rows deep for this race lead. Let's see what happened here.
Yeah, remember it's the 2 truck, and Gessler's back to the left.
Goodness, I'm not sure what his strategy is there with that move, but he kind of baited that white truck into doing the same thing.
I can't tell if he was just bored or corrected himself so hard to the left he spun it. Terrell Baker.
Block by Baker.
Oh, that was close to a turnaround by Shockley. He got a break.
now Shockley's going to get back to the inside. And after he saw a block like that from Baker, he's probably glad. He probably does not want to see that cream-colored 7 back in front of his number 4 truck.
Turning in, coming up to 5 laps in. Baker the leader, Shockley in second. Parker White continues to work back and forth, same for Baker on the lines. Already very clear. Many of your front runners throughout the season trying to maintain distance about 1.5 seconds from all this because of just how tight the side draft, even from the inside lines, attempting to pull back the outside.
I believe White got a little bit tight there off turn 2, and he almost paid the price for it. Almost got up into the 3 and maybe even the 1 truck there. That could have been big. Oh, another big block from Baker.
You can only do that so many times, though, with the fixed setup. A lot of drivers have talked about over the years, especially in recent years with the draft model, you try and change the stream, so to speak, mid-corner, you can spin it.
Oh, yeah. And he does not want to have to learn that the hard way. I'm sure he's well aware already, but he doesn't want to. He might not want to retake that lesson.
Oh, there we go. Trouble inside line, a slide to the grass. We stay green. That was the 8 machine going around in Frederick, and he's got a problem. He's already pointed to the apron.
Might just be, oh goodness, they're still out of shape here. They're going to let, I'm not sure who that was that went down below the line. It looks like they let him back in. I think that might have been the 18.
Good communication amongst them to be able to save it and keep it going. Frederick's lost the draft at least, though. In fact, has already towed it. That's opened up the door for Boylan Edwards to say, I want to go and charge ahead. Oh, and White blocks the line.
White is not content behind that 7 truck of Baker. He wants up here. He wants this lead. He's got it for the time being. Is he going to... Oh, he makes the block and makes it work. These guys have really gotten away with some dangerous moves here early, but so far so good. But how long will it last, Justin?
I think that's the question in everybody's minds here with already a couple close calls. 3 wide middle.
Almost 4 wide. My goodness.
That was
10.
Yeah, Justin Hagan said, you know what, maybe I want to go middle. Not a great call with the outside charging with Duran leading it.
And thankfully he realized that very fast. He tucked right back into line as soon as he was able.
Go right back to a breather, already to the blocking groupings, goes to 22. That's Jake Sylvia, the short track racer, yeah. 4 wide again.
There we go. This is where it could get risky. If I'm the 22, I'd bow out if I'm able. He has a lane behind the 3 truck. There he goes. Perfect. Just like that. It's exactly what he needed to do. But the 18, Duran's going to be in trouble here. He's got no help. He's going to drop like a rock until he can find a way down and get back in the wake of somebody.
But the field still survives for the time being. 17
They've
laps.
also come down a bit as well. They're back to just double file, it looks like, throughout the whole pack.
I give it 5 seconds before it goes back to 10 and 10 intensity again.
I mean, with a quick sprint race like this, there's no pitch strategy involved. It is full throttle all the way to the end, unless, of course, you get a few caution breaks here and there a lot of times in these races. But other than that, the intensity never really seems to ramp down in the truck series, especially at a drafting track like this.
16 laps to go for tonight's action here on Maconi Entertainment. Again, tonight's action brought to you by Maconi Setup Shop and Maconi Entertainment. Home for setups, paint schemes, coaching, broadcasting, and more in iRacing. Once again, Maconi Setup Shop, the official setup shop of eNASCAR. Right now, the shuffling continues. Many people already thinking, how do I get to the front? Still a ways to go, but others like Sylvia, you've seen that shuffle.
At 22, he also got cut a break there from the 5 truck. Is that J-Bo, a 5 truck? That is.
Yes. So it looks like Jabo's saying, you know what, maybe I should make some strides here. And he is working with someone with some race admin experience.
My goodness.
Akonaj says, you know what, I want to take this elevator shaft upward too.
Well, you weren't wrong. We are right back to 3x3 pretty much all the way throughout this pack. Oh, and Baker, he is really pushing his luck, I'm telling you. I don't know how long he'll get away with that. I hate to sound like a broken record, but he has really cut it close and almost paid the price multiple times here tonight.
14 laps to go here at Talladega. Equinox just got the edge for a moment. Trouble for Baker. Wow! Parker White hit him mid-corner. He saves it.
That was a great save, and that's probably, honestly, most of the reason that Baker has been able to hold on to that truck. He's great he's great working his arms in that thing. He's got it under control. And he's leading this race from the middle line right now as well. That middle line is the most organized. They are keeping it the most straight. And I've noticed that throughout a lot of the races I've done this week. The middle line seems to be the most stable because they don't have to worry as much. I mean, they're more so in less danger than the bottom or the top if they're 3 wide, because guys on the bottom are snaking out of line, but the guys in the middle know if they snake out of line, they're going to cause an accident.
It's almost like the best of both worlds, you can even argue, because top lines, people say faster down straights. Bottom line, faster in the corners, but the top line is only fast if you got the numbers in the side draft, and it's the middle.
And that momentum of the lanes, like you said, is exactly what makes for exciting finishes that we've seen at Talladega in both iRacing and, of course, the real world as well throughout all these years. You know, if the bottom is better in the corners and the top is better on the straights, the tri-oval all the way to that finish line outside of it is the perfect recipe for that to be a great finish.
Baker still maintaining the bottom of the racetrack for the time being, but up towards the front. Yeah, that's Voides, I was about to say.
Stuck his nose out of line, but I'm not sure if he meant to. These guys on the bottom are starting to also hit the apron. That's usually a factor of, oh goodness, that's 7. But that's usually happening because someone in front of someone else hit the apron, and the person behind them did it too, and then it's just all the way back. It's just a accordion effect in a way. Everybody does what the one in front of them does. They kind of trust them to beat them.
A lot of lane changing. Baker and White seem to be somewhat working together. Here comes Jabo. He slots into the bump spot.
Move from Jabo, and the one truck also made an excellent move there of White to get down to the bottom. I mean, he just pulled the slingshot move right there on Baker. But right now, Jabo is working overtime on the back bumper of that 7 truck.
Still 11 to go when we get to the stripe. The 1 and the 7 continue to play with the lines. And you know what I've noticed? Just about everybody, except for maybe Henderson and Maconi, who dropped to the back early on, is now saying, let's get up front. There's a look, for example, of Henderson.
So now we got Jabo on the outside of White for this race lead. He is now leading the outside line. He's getting pushed by Edwards behind him. And Baker, the one we've seen so aggressive with blocks leading the line, now he is no longer leading any lane. He is forced to be the second car in line there on the bottom. So how long will he stay content with that, Justin?
One of the main things where the second you think things look content, it seems as though somebody steps out. Speaking of which,
my goodness, looked like a bump and run on a plate track.
At this point, I kind of have the sense that Baker and White are at least somewhat in sync on what they want to do. The problem is, what they're doing almost is like they're driving like the next-gen car instead of the truck.
Oh, yeah. And that won't end well in the long run for them. It's like you say, if you move around too fast in this thing, it's going around, and it'll get big from there, especially with either the 1 and the 7. I mean, the White at the front is going to take out a lot of contenders.
10 laps to go here. Still 3 wide in the heart of the field. Last top split race of the week for Talladega here on iRacing for the springtime. Right now it's White trying to beat the Pied Piper, try and follow the Brad Keselowski and Dale Jr. ways of 2010s. But it's been Baker who's done that much of the way. Now it's Voides moving him.
Wow. That was a strong move to the bottom. He's got a great push from... Oh, and he gets turned!
Oh, no caution. He's off the racing surface. We stay green. Voides gets spun to the apron. The rest of the field continues to rumble. 21 cars, 1.1 seconds. We've already had 2 cars get turned, 2 trucks should say, but no cautions.
My goodness, that is a heartbreaker. He just made a great move to put himself in position. Let's see if we can get a better look at this. The 4 is giving him a great push here through the travel and just never got off of him, I don't believe. No.
Yeah, that was the 4.
Never cut him a break, and I mean, at this point in the race, you kind of can't. He did a great job of keeping it off the wall there, though. I'll give him that, but unfortunately now he's way behind the pack, and unless we get a caution, he might be out of
trouble. This was on replay, just as we're showing the last one. J-Bo got doored down into set 4, and that was with Williamson also involved. With that, we are still somehow green.
You're gonna need to put that in the instant karma video right there. Even if it wasn't intentional, that's pretty wild how fast he ended up getting in trouble. Shame for J-Bo as well, because like you said, he had dropped to the back early on to avoid trouble. He got up here at the end, and trouble found him anyway.
That was Shockley in the 4 truck once again, but now coming to 7 to go. Edwards trying to play the lines, but watch the 3 from here, Shay. For multiple times all throughout the fall and the winter, the man to beat at this track in the S.O.F races, Daniel Mosteller.
Right now, Mosteller is giving a heck of a push to Baker, who is not let up with these aggressive blocks. And I mean, he doesn't show any signs of stopping. He looks a lot like Dale Jr. did, like you said, where he just works those lanes up and down, nonstop. He is lane blocking. Mirror driving is kind of a dangerous game to play here, as Edwards heads up to the outside of now.
And the lane thoughts continue with Sylvia trying to get a 3rd line working and fast with several of the short
momentum as well.
Yeah, several of the short track racers with them. Hart working up there. Equinage too. Still needs maybe one more in the full tilt to get the energy levels up, it looks like.
My goodness, this has been great racing. I mean, they have been 3 wide, basically start to finish, as Baker throws another big block. My goodness, I almost want him to win this thing with as aggressive as he's been. He has made it work. Every move has been timed perfectly for him.
5.5 laps to go down this back straightaway this time around. Lap traffic is ahead. And this time it looks like, moving to the bottom, that's Dominic Begin, who got turned around in one of the massive checkups earlier on. Very cordial that time in the traffic. But look at that. That's opened the door for Edwards for the first time.
And Mosteller to his outside. I'm not so sure that Edwards wanted Mosteller to get to his outside, but looks like he's getting a good enough push from Baker right now, but they're going to be even around here for probably a good bit until somebody slips up, which has been happening nonstop tonight.
Down to the final few laps here at Talladega Superspeedway. It's Daniel Mosteller, last year's S.O.F master, in the lead. Stewart making his way up to the field. Edwards the pusher up of the front 3.
And Stewart has come absolutely out of nowhere to fight for this win. He is right up here at the end. Maybe timed it perfect. We'll have to wait and see.
There could be a chance, though, for anyone else to shuffle here with 4 to go at the stripe. Keep in mind the 3rd line, interesting enough. Every attempt, really only 1 driver has made their way up to the front via the 3rd line. That was J-Bo. And now they're trying to wreck each other to make one.
There they go.
There it is.
There they went. We'll have a caution for this now. So this might just send us to overtime, Justin. I don't think they'll get enough time to get this sorted out and to get back going before the end of the scheduled distance.
Caution flag is out. 4 laps to go. Our first yellow of the night. And, well, Baker played with fire.
Yeah, I mean, and unfortunately for the 6 truck there, he's the one that paid the price. I cannot believe that this wasn't bigger than that. Tyrell Baker, he has been very aggressive, and right here just, I mean, pretty much forced himself into a hole that was not there in the first place.
Yeah, that was a decision, to say the least.
It was certainly a decision of all time. All right, let's see what this is like here. This might be just from the 10 truck right there. Did a good job of avoiding that. I mean, that's what another factor that comes into these plate races is, you better have played those old EA Sports games where the wreck avoidance challenges. That's kind of plays to your advantage here sometimes. Oh my gosh, look at the truck there.
Yeah, that was not pretty once again in the heart of that field. A lot of people are lucky to not get worse damage, you can argue, but this could very well trigger the green-white checkered. Only one attempt, remember, in C Fixed competition. And that would potentially set the table for an even wilder finish than what happened on Wednesday, where, for those who missed, like in the fall S.O.F race at Dega, the whole field crashed in the final lap. It came down to 3 drivers. It was Jonathan Evans that race who picked up the victory. That was after Derek Kraus tried to get to the inside and turned the driver in front of him for the win. Instead, it turned into a drag race between Evans and the person being turned. Evans won by a few inches.
Sounds like Talladega.
Very much quintessential Talladega, you can argue, and it is confirmed overtime finish. We will have one attempt. If we get a caution flag before the white, the race ends under checkered. If we get to the white flag, it's quite simply a race to the checkered.
Saw Jabo and the 6 truck there on pit lane. The 6 was the one that just went around, and Jabo also got a piece of that accident on the backstretch ahead, no caution, that took out the 4 truck, who, do we know if he's still out there?
Believe he is not out there.
All right.
Not out there. We just got the confirmation earlier. So, a lot of drivers are getting significant issues here.
And I mean, I just can't believe that wreck on the straightaway was not a bigger problem than that. I mean, the fact that the 6 is pretty much the only slight casualty from that, and he didn't even really hit anything. You just come down, put 4 tires on it, send it back out. You never know at this place what might happen. I mean, like you said, the whole field wrecked, could happen again, and he could just scoot right on by.
So we'll try this again here for the restart coming up in a few moments. 1 to go when they get the stripe for the restart. Stewart, Musteller, Edwards, Sylvia, Baker, White, your top 6. Justin again in 7th, Equinage in 8th, Hart and Durand, your top 10. Of note, those who have been trying to stay at the very back all race are starting to make some inroads. Misevich is 11th, Henderson 14th, Maconi 15th amongst those who dropped back. Rockwood, who was the initial helper outside, is in 12th. Your series points leader is in 13th. All those drivers, by the way, I just mentioned, pretty much want to get going very fast, so expect a crazy restart.
Well, I will say the big thing there with Schneider, obviously, 13th wouldn't be the ideal finish, but he is ahead of Botello there in the 18th spot. But the 5 is on fresh tires. It typically doesn't matter a ton at a place like this, but we'll see.
So now, how do you play this? If you're, first of all, amongst those up at the very front, how do you play this?
Well, I'm trying to put myself in the shoes of the 3 truck on the outside there at Mosteller. I mean, first of all, you mentioned what a great plate racer he is based on the fall that he had here last season, but I just don't know. I mean, timing these restarts on the outside of the front row is such a it's a very difficult task in iRacing. You don't want to jump the start. You don't want to get a restart violation, and it's very easy to do, especially at Talladega, where people typically don't go immediately in the restart zone. You don't want to get too far out front, especially if you're Stewart. I mean, if he has to think about where he's going to go in the box, does he wait till the end to go on the flagger, or does he just see what happens with this 19 truck behind him? How good can the 19 time? And 22 is just everybody behind anybody on this track right now plays a factor more than they realize.
That leads obviously to the counterpoint. What if you don't have the track position? What's your play without crashing the field?
Well, if, I'm let's say I'm Henderson back there in the 15th position. Right now, I would just be thinking any lane that opens up and gets clear, I'm going to jump in it and see where it takes me. If it doesn't work, I'll hop into the next lane that clears, and you just kind of have to hope the seas part for you at that point, which it happens here.
Let's find out which way this is about to turn here. Final restart of this race. Overtime to decide the last winner of top split from Talladega this month. And for the time until we get to October. Stewart, Musteller, front row, back on her way. We're already changing lanes before the start and finish line. The tempo is set to extremely high.
And that is perfectly legal here in iRacing. So is the yellow line. There's no rule against it. It's kind of a driver's code to not use it, but we'll see what these guys decide. The 20, I think, might have messed up going to the top there. He's losing momentum, and that lane is dying out. Now it's getting rolling again.
Stewart trying to get a side draft. That did not work out at all, choosing the high side before the start and finish line. But Baker is already looking for a second.
White has made a third lane up top, and I think that's just not helping anybody on the outside because Baker is clear right now. So when does he make his? Here he goes. Oh, he might get turned.
Stewart hit him, but he's still able to save it to the middle. If we get to the white flag, it's a race just simply to the checkered. 3-4 wide as they come to the stripe. Down to 2.66 miles to go from Dega.
Coming back no matter what. We will not, even if there's a wreck, there will be no caution.
Who's going to get the chance to burst? White has already dropped back to 9th from that third line. Edwards has Egan over his rear end. Does Egan get himself clear? Baker
up in the top 10 as well. 19 nearly gets turned.
3 wide for second. This is helpful for Baker. Now Musteller's clear.
How aggressive will the 3 be? We know Baker's been aggressive with the block. Will he make the right move here? Will he get a lucky break? It's going to be tight.
He's trying to block it high. He goes middle. He tries to block low. It's Edwards cutting underneath. Baker, Egan, Justin Egan steals it away.
Finish. Wow. What a finish. And there's a horrific crash out back here of these guys right now. They are tearing it up. They're still wrecking.
What a rip away at the end of the race. Justin Egan gets the edge. 4 different lanes trying to be blocked by Baker. He couldn't stop them all.
I mean, they were nearly 4 wide for the win. I mean, almost 5. Look at that. Just ran out of room out there at the back end. I mean, you can only fit so many cars side by side through here. I kind of hate it for the 7. I mean, you see he gets out of shape there, and I think the 22 might not lift for him. I mean, he's going to push him. 1 gets turned.
I mean, everyone's not lifting on the final lap on the final straight.
I mean, it's like I said, the sea will part free with this place. That is exactly what just happened for Justin.
And everybody responds with, let's all finish with 4 X's as is tradition.
I mean, why not, right? Looks like he's already burned it down there. Oh, here he goes.
Justin Egan gets the race win and gets it on the final straightaway. It took him a moment to be able to find a hole, but the hole and the C's part during 4 wide blocking. Again to zip by for the race win. Post-race coverage starts up in just a moment. Launching Maconi Entertainment for coverage of Maconi C Fixed Series action from Talladega Superspeedway.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
When you want to be the best, you can't settle for the rest. For anything on iRacing, there's just one name you need, Maconi.
With the launch of Maconi Entertainment and Maconi Competizone alongside Maconi Setup Shop, we now provide the best of the best in setups, paint schemes, coaching, broadcasting, and event organization.
With cars across all 4 license classes, we have what you need to hit the track with confidence. Grab a subscription and save money while going fast at MaconiSetupShop.com/subscriptions.
And remember, at Maconi Setup Shop, there are setups, but your victories.
Welcome back to Maconi Entertainment for post-race coverage of Maconi Fixed Series action from Talladega. Where in the end, 4 wide blocking, just not enough for Terrell Baker. It's Justin Agan who takes the win at the time of the checker flag here. Let's take a look at your in-sim official results here after a wild moment. It took a lot of decisive movement to be able to get this done. Agan gets it by just about a tenth of a second. Terrell Baker finishes top 3 in the very end. Chase Stewart, Jake Sylvia, your top 5. Duran, Clemens, Equinox, Hart, White, your top 10. Jeff Maconi did not get himself to the front of the very end after dropping early. Same for Musteller, although he was up front for a bit, got shuffled in the chaos at the line. Connor Rockwood and Jacob Snyder the same. Boy, just got turned around before a caution flag. Then also with some troubles, Clater and Masevich. Dominic again lost a lap because of his issue early on in the race. And rounding out your field on the last of the pages for tonight's action, that includes some drivers with some rough ones. J-Bo, a huge rough one. Henderson, Wright, Shockley, DNFs. Williamson and Frederick, also DNF. That's look top to bottom at your running order here tonight for this one here from Talladega Superspeedway. An interesting one to say the very least. Where do we begin? Is an interesting question. We do not have Justin Agan standing on by, but I am curious on the thoughts from those who are close. In particular, Terrell Baker, believe. Do you have a copy?
Yes, this is Terrell Baker. Hello.
Talk us through your decision-making for the final restart.
Well, I'm not sure what happened to the top. They just completely stopped. I was not even supposed to have a chance to win this race at that point. But yeah, I was just gonna push. I forgot who was ahead of me on that restart, but just push them out as far as I can, and then try to get clear of the top, which I did. And then I had the 87 behind me, or Demos behind me, pushing me, and I thought I was gonna be set. And then once we got out of 4, made the right blocks, but just missed one, and the 10 just came straight through the middle, and I ended up 3rd somehow.
It was a wild time, to say the least. It almost seemed like you were trying to play it like Dale Jr. or Brad Keselowski from the 2010s. How would you talk about your approach of trying to block the lanes and, at one point for the finish, block 4 different lanes?
Yeah. Blocking 1 lane is almost hard enough. Trying to block 4 is very hard, which is why I didn't end up winning the race. But yeah, I know a lot of people really don't block. There's a few other guys that are kind of blocking in the race, but I know I'm definitely the most aggressive. One of the most aggressive, definitely in the top split that blocks. But yeah, you know, that's kind of what you have to do to stay up front. So just got to throw all those blocks and throw every block that you can safely without destroying the field and myself. But you know, like you said, I'm only one car. I can't block 4 lanes at once, especially at Talladega. So yeah, we're just going to have to settle with 3rd.
Next up is Dover week. How do you feel about Dover this week?
Oh, well, you know, Dover's a very good track for me. It's a hometown track, if you will. I'm from New York, so yeah, I love Dover. It's going to be interesting to see since the most recent update if the multiple lines actually open up. So yeah, it'll be fun. Can't wait for Wednesday.
Well, on that note, Terrell, thank you very much for the time. We'll see how you do by Wednesday.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
That's Terrell Baker coming away with the top 3. Second spot, also standing on one side. Boyden Edwards now standing on by. He's with our newest broadcaster from Maconi Entertainment, Shane Mundy.
Hey, Bladen, I just want to know that last restart there. You know, take us through, you know, your mindset. Obviously, the 7 was very aggressive with the blocks. You know, what is there that you think you could have timed differently, or do you think it would have ended the same all in the end?
Yeah, first off, I want to thank Martin Sports, but yeah, that last restart, I was just going in, going to stay on the bottom. And I was going to push. I don't even remember who was in front of me, but I was going to push him, but then he jumped up, and then it was just on at that point, I guess. But final lap back straight away, almost got turned by Justin, which was, it's all good, it's fine. Saved it, and then just the finish. It's spinning across the line in a second. That was a lot of fun.
I mean, that's typical Talladega fashion. Sometimes it's better to spin across the line than not make it to the line, right?
Oh yeah, yeah, but it was very fun. Yeah, thank you guys for broadcasting it.
Once again, that's Brendan Edwards taking the time to speak with us here during post-race coverage. We also have now gotten the race winner for tonight, Justin Hagan, now standing on by. Justin, what's going through your mind after that one? A wild finish. Talk us through what you've seen.
Well, first of all, I saw Tyrell make that block coming out of 4. I was like, I'm not lifting no matter what. I just wanted to get to the finish line, no matter if I was killed or if I got to the finish line first. Yeah, I got there first, so.
What was kind of the mindset throughout the race today? Because half the field seemed to not want to be up front, obviously, but half the field wanted to go 3 wide. We heard Baker's thoughts on it. What were your thoughts when you were seeing a lot of the intensity?
I just wanted to stay in the pack the whole race. My intentions were not going to the back at all. I had staying up the front like all week. This is actually my first win of the whole entire week, actually. Yeah, like on that last part, I was just going to shoot the gap, and if they blocked, they blocked. If they didn't, if I saw a clean spot, I was going to take it, and it got me into victory lane.
So what are your thoughts on the Monster Mile this week, and why?
Probably going to skip the week. Not really going to do much of the Monster Mile. I do like the track, but a lot of tire saving and close racing, and not really that interested in it, but yeah.
Well, on that note then, congratulations on the final toss put win of the week here for Dega, Justin.
Thank you.
Justin Hagan coming away with the win tonight. Like to thank him and the rest of the top 3 for taking the time to speak with us during post-race coverage here on Maconi Entertainment. On that note, Shane, your final thoughts first of all on what we've seen to close out Dega week.
Well, I think there was no better way to close out Dega week than with a finish like that. I mean, that's just Talladega at its finest. It's like we kind of talked about earlier in the broadcast, where sometimes you got to be lucky, and that's better to be good. And Justin was both of them tonight. He was up there pretty much the whole time. He stayed patient, and the sea parted for him there coming to the line, and he picked up the win. Obviously, he said he's going to skip Dover, so I guess it's a good thing to go out on a high note until he makes his way back here to the Maconi series.
So, what do you think about the Monster Mile yourself for this week? Remember, the C Fixed S.O.F broadcast on Wednesday. What do you expect when we go there Wednesday?
Oh, goodness. Dover is one of my favorite tracks to race at on iRacing. It's just so unique, getting down into turn 3 and turn 1 are 2 completely different experiences. Going down to turn 3, you really have to be careful how low you take it or you're going around. And it's also, it's a concrete surface. It's really hard on tires. Obviously, I think you can expect the unexpected a little bit there, but I'm sure there will be some obvious contenders, especially emerging after qualifying in every session.
We'll see what happens next time out. Remember, the S.O.F broadcast at Dover, April the 24th. Coverage starts 7:15 p.m. Eastern Time here on Maconi Entertainment. On that note, it's time once again to say goodbye. Thank you once again to the race sponsor and Maconi Setup Shop, as well as to our viewers for tuning in. Calling the action tonight was myself, Justin Prince, alongside me, Shane Mundy, with Noah Remple producing. Thanks to all our viewers for watching tonight's racing action, and we hope you stay tuned to our social media pages for our next race. Thanks once more to the entire staff for bringing this work and bringing this racing to you tonight. This has been a production of Maconi Entertainment. We'll see you next time.